wife getting up there and going, I understand that that's the person you saw, but I never knew that man. And then my kids would get up and say, he was a great dad, but we never knew the guy that you talk about. And so it was just like, it was just this like knee-dropping moment for me where I was like, dude, how did I get here? How did I get here? So that was like the sort of journey I've been on, man. And like I do things that I think is right, and I don't always get the results. I'm trying to learn.
Tell me about it.
Not only how to be a man, but then to be a man with the kingdom I was given, right? Because if you were to look back at that moment now where I'm at that you were talking about, I would go, I don't need to go to this next contest. Yeah. I need to manage the kingdom that I have right now. And I'm doing a very poor job of that. And not only am I doing a poor job of that, but now I'm bailing on it. So that's what I did. Like, I mean, not only did I mess that up, but like I'm just trying to scratch the surface at 40.
Yeah. Well, it's a constant struggle that I find I have, and I'm always interested with couples, how people who have passions like surfing, and it doesn't have to be surfing, it's many different, lots of other people have it. It could be gymnastics, it could be art, it could be whatever, and that's that's what drives them. That's part of their self-identification. That's part of who they are. And how you balance that with, as you say, your kingdom or the people that you love and care about. And I don't know, like it's like a very difficult thing to balance, I find, because you get satisfaction from surfing, and it definitely fills you. It feels maybe more superficial. As I get older, it seems more superficial. And when you're young, you think it's everything.
Yeah.
But it was the job, though, for you. For us,
but you could sell that. You could always sell it as a job. Everyone has an affair with their job. It's just like, I'll be home at 7 and I'll leave at 7. It's just like, well, when's Dad going to get home?
Right.
The sun's down, and it's just like, hey, because you're not fighting for that. And everyone can have. You know what I even go to. How does the female deal with that? How does the female deal with that man?
Partner.
Yeah, as a partner. Yeah. I love this guy because he's a go-getter. Like, this guy's crazy with business, or this guy's there's just things about this guy that has drawn me towards him. Mm-hmm. And then that's the thing that she, ends up just going, gosh, this guy just give this up. Like, isn't this more important? So I sort of start to go there too. We're like, oh man, bless your heart.
Yeah. I go through it now in some ways, just traveling and work, and you use the work as the excuse, and
I don't think that ever ends.
No,
because then you could go and spend all your time at home, right? And it's like, get the hell out of here! What are you doing so close? But
it's a give and take. It's a push and pull always, constantly, isn't it?
Yeah, that's.
Do you think that the WSL will consider family in the way other workplaces have? Do you think that's possible in the sport, in the tour?
I don't think that's healthy for a sport to I don't think that's healthy for anybody, and look, that's why you're in relationships anyways, right? To save, the only person that could save you is your partner, really. Beauty, right? I love that so much that's what'll save me. If beauty doesn't save you, then the design didn't work for you.
Go for it.
Oh no, I was gonna.
But some people choose the beauty of the ocean, right?
Oh, yeah,
and then that's what they.
I guess to add, I want to go back. You brought up an interesting point when you come home off tour and you felt like you were acting like an SOB. What part of surfing? What were you feeling? That was it a loss? Was it the stoke? What aspect that maybe even we don't understand to be at the sort of highest level in this thing, that when you got home and that stimulus wasn't there, that you brought you to that place, that dark place that you think you went to?
Well, for me, it was like I went into sales, and so it's all new, and so it's overwhelming. I think I need to answer every email. I think I need to go to every shop. I think I just need to do everything to make it happen. And so I was just trying to make it happen, and it was new, sort of outside of my comfort zone. And then so I processed it like, well, I'm providing. This is my new job, and I'm providing, and this is what it's going to look like. And I was miserable, so I was drinking a lot of beer. I was getting fat. There was not that. So I was being more. Not only was I unattractive, obviously more to my wife, but I just wasn't very nice because there was things in me that I wasn't stoked with how this was playing out. I live in Orlando at this point. Like, I'm an hour away from the beach. Like, I could sit there and go down that thing just going like, dude, what happened? What happened, dude? You're a sales rep and you live in Orlando. But the reality, that's what I sold myself on, and that's what made me act like be short-tempered and all those things. But the real thing was like, dude, you got a business that's just freaking growing like this. You could basically sit on your butt and the thing will grow and you will kill it. All you have to do is figure out how to be rad, dude. Like, but that's what I wasn't telling myself that. And so it just took a while to get there, where I was just like, dude, you don't have to do those things. You don't have to kill yourself. Right. You're going to get the same outcome. So yeah, that's sort of where it was. I had to learn that.
How is it dealing with like, also like your ego? Like, you leave the tour, you're used to this attention, and I imagine part of yourself is defined by what you do or what you were doing, and then to come and have that kind of taken away, or to walk away from that, and then to have to redefine your own sense of self.
That's a great question. So for a lot of men, and I sort of put it in my own category and even sort of like filter it this way. So it's either like pride or lust that takes a man out. And I was very thankful that humility and those things, those were gifts that I was given. So those things really didn't take me out, but the lusty thing took me out. And so that's where a lot of that stemmed from. And I had to go there with that because, I'm married, I got 3 girls, like I could go dark down there and stuff would take me out. But to answer your question, I didn't struggle with that. Like,
you did.
I didn't struggle with the pride. I didn't struggle with I just, not in a bad way, but I just never thought that I just thought I cheated the system.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, like they paid me money to surf and I didn't jeopardize any of my quality of life. I can go anywhere and do anything. Majority of people don't even know who I am, And I was like, dude, this is rad. So like I really thought those things never welled up in me.
Do you think part of that had to do with the fact that you got to go out on your own terms with the tour? And do you think your brother might have struggled with it different, or had a different experience than you from that?
I mean, a learning curve is a learning curve.
Yeah.
And I can't say that, my curve was better than his or vice versa.
Different, yeah.
Yeah, so it is different, right? And then we were able to help each other out, Because I remember when my brother was doing the Big Wave Tour, and I remember the waves were going off in Porto.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, dude, he could win this event, He loses first heat. Yeah. And I talked to him like a day later, and I'm like, dude, what the heck is going on?
Yeah.
Like, you should be comboing the field. Like, the waves are perfect. I know your talent level. And he's like, oh, they were like hassling for a wave, and I didn't feel like hassling. And I was like, dude, if you would have told me that when you were on tour, I would have told you to take a hike, And then, so a week or so goes by, and then I talk to him again, and I'm like, oh, yeah, he's still going to do the Big Wave Tour? And he's like, yeah, I'm still going to go. I'm like, dude, you're done. You're done. You're done. You told me the things that I needed to hear, and you're just an addict that you don't think you're hurting anyone else. I was like, dude, stop it. Mm. And then I think he did it for, another event or two, and then he's like, I'm done. He called me a little bit later, and he's like, yeah, I'm done. But the thing is we still were able to help each other out in those moments, and maybe the curve is a little bit different with these certain areas, but we're still able to sort of encourage each other.
That's awesome. You guys are very fortunate to have that.
Totally.
That's huge.
That is pretty fortunate.
Did you ever talk to some of the other brother combos out along? I'm sure you were approached. I mean, you talked about Andy, Bruce, but other siblings. Was that ever like hey, this is what we've learned along the way, or like.
But there are support groups for surfers after pro-life even.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big, that's a part of, and it hasn't it's not in full bloom by any means. I'm still in husband, dad mode, but you want to start priming the pump of, encouraging people. So it's, when I was in Tahiti, I was able to have some great conversations with people that were sort of, whatever sort of area they were in, and just sort of encourage them, like, hey, I really, when you do your interviews and you do this way, this is what it looks like to me, and you're coming from a really good place, and and whether it was talking to Jeremy Flores, he's got kids, and where he's at, and how he feels about surfing and his relationship with competing and the work, and very relatable stuff that I know I want to go to talk to people that have been in those situations and walked in the shoes that I'm sort of going in right now. Yeah. So the same thing, and as I get older, I would that would be fulfilling for me to talk with people that are going through similar.
There's Tyler and I were focusing on one of this epic wave at Teahupoo, and Tyler reminded me it was 2004 as it was featured in the film, and your brother, you guys are both right on the shoulder, and maybe your brother was pulled back, or
the wave.
The wave.
Yeah.
First of all, for mortals, it's amazing to sort of hear the backstory about the dynamics of that wave. But if your brother hadn't been there, would you have approached that drop differently?
There has to be so many parts that have to happen for that, and that's just what makes moments. And I think there's always, with any sort of defining moments, whether it's in a person or in a sport or whatever, there is just think about the preparation that would have to go in for that moment to happen, and then just think about the things that would have to happen in a chronological order for that to happen. In that moment, I think about that, if the tour is not in town, there's not a bunch of people there, if it's not a point in time where people, for the most part, people thought most of those waves weren't paddleable, because that's why a lot of people were towing, Shano and Andy, and those guys were out towing, and literally, my brother was there, was a factor. A big factor was I had been sitting out there for almost 2 hours, and in me, I couldn't paddle to the boat. I was that's defeat that I don't want to confront right now. And I'm okay, next wave that comes in, and the tow guys don't get it, I'm just gonna go. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm done. I've premeditated this, but that. I don't say those things, and I don't get to that frustration level, and I don't get to that point if all these things didn't happen before that. I mean, literally, my brother just happened to be right next to me. I had sort of premeditated it, and then the only thing I didn't premeditate it was, holy crap, he's gonna go because I'm gonna go. It's gonna be an instinctive reaction, right. Because that's just what's gonna happen with us. So I had to almost. So then there was another thing that I had to figure in, that oh my gosh, I can't paddle for this wave until he makes a motion that way. And then once he made a motion that way, then it was my time. But all those things had to happen where I had to take my mind, off maybe what was going on to sort of do that. And those moments happened because of that, but nothing I planned, really.
Right, it's interesting. Two of some of the most iconic waves ever written in Teahupoo paddled into were you and Andy Irons. Yeah. And Andy's wave was partially because Bruce said you won't go, and pushed him into.
Well, yeah, those are the backstories, right? That happen. Yeah. Those are just this microcosm. You might as well be playing with a dump truck when you're. It's just on a grander scale.
It's crazy. It's cool. It's interesting. Two of the most dramatic paddle waves were kind of instigated by brothers in some ways.
Yeah, you need other people, man. You do need other people to go places, for sure.
I want to talk about a little bit about your religious belief. You know, you're devout Christian.